offensive coordinator, running back coach at SDSU. Coach Darren Smith, good to talk to you.
Great to be on with you, Darren. How's it going down there?
It's going really well. How about yourself?
Couldn't be better.
How's your off season thus far?
Spectacular.
What's the highlight so far?
Hey, we got spring ball finished. No major injuries, and I think we got a really great group trying to get meshed up and come together as a unit, and look forward to going and getting after Stanford's ass up there on August 30th, 31st, whatever it is.
I love that. You're already fired up about getting into Stanford's ass, and that game is months and months away. How was your spring ball, by the way, with the change in venue?
You know what? I thought it was a great deal. I think just getting out of the daily routine of being here, you're kind of all trapped on the one field, 100 guys. Go over there to Chargers Park, it's a spectacular area, huge. Now, it felt like, I'm from Texas, it felt like we were out in the hayfields over there. They hadn't turned the water on since last June, since they left town, so it's kind of just a cloud of dust there where we're practicing at. But I thought the kids really liked it. It was cool, kind of being in the former Chargers locker room, and it was really nice of the city to open that up to us and then let us get after it over there. So I thought it really worked out great.
Was it like walking in an old West ghost town? I mean, what was, I know they had to do a little bit of cleaning up here before you guys could actually get in there and run around and use the facilities, et cetera. But from time to time, I get diverted right down Murphy Canyon Road. So I drive past that. I know exactly what it is you're talking about. What was it like on the inside? What did it look like in there?
Hey, there wasn't much left. I mean, if they could take it, it was gone. I mean, inside there was no pictures, nothing on the walls, everything ripped down, chairs thrown about. It looked definitely like a ghost town or like something had gone through there. But we put it all together, made it work, and like I said, it turned out those kind of things. It's good to have a little adversity, a little something different, makes the kids kind of focus a little more and put them through some tough situations to start with.
Jeff Horton joining us on San Diego Sports, leader of the Mighty 1090. I said a little bit earlier, some of this pre-draft stuff to me, Coach, and maybe it's of incredible interest to you and the people who have dedicated their lives to the sport of football, but some of it I think it's a little bit overhyped. I found myself sucked in with Sam Darnold throwing a football around. And I don't know how many of these NFL types or how many of these evaluators will make the trek down here to San Diego tomorrow. But tomorrow is SDSU's Pro Day. And I wonder what level of involvement do you have in such a day? And what is everybody on campus expecting when the NFL turns its eyes to you guys tomorrow?
I think we'll have a greget turnout. We obviously got Rashad, but then we got a lot of other guys. We had 4 guys at the Combine, and we had several good players here for us that will get, didn't get invited to the Combine, but they'll have a chance to work out and show what they can do in front of NFL coaches and scouts. I think all you got to do is look at Calvin Munson last year. He was the guy that didn't go to the Combine. He ended up starting, I think, 5-6 games, for the Giants this year. The Combine, it's like anything else, any of those awards, it's politically based, and they're going to take care of the good Power 5 guys first. So compliment to our guys getting to go there, but it's not the end all, and there's still opportunities. The only thing I'm worried about tomorrow is the rain. I was supposed to get a pretty good douse of rain here, but whatever it is, and we'll get through it. I think it's going to be a great day. The only thing I'm here for, the coaches and the scouts kind of run it. Mm-hmm. We don't really have much involvement other than support. I'll be here. Obviously, though, all the coaches and scout people come in and talk with me about the players. Obviously, Rashad, Nick Bawden, the most here at running back, David Wells, tight end, Cam Kelly, the corner, and we got several others. But we'll answer the questions for them and be upfront and honest. We always tell the players, hey, we're going to be upfront and honest with the pro people when they come in. So you better make sure you take care of your business in all your areas. So it's going to be an exciting day. It's kind of bittersweet. It's hard to believe. I remember Rashad just first got here. Now he's on his way out, and as well as all those guys. Time goes by quick, but a really exciting day for him.
Jeff Horton is the offensive coordinator, running back coach at SDSU San Diego State. Their pro day coming up tomorrow. You talked a little bit about some of the stuff that we've spent time on this show, which is the flawed voting system, whether it's the Doak Walker Award, the Heisman to a certain extent. And, we all understand what the challenges are. It doesn't excuse anybody, in my opinion. They have jobs to do, and they should be thorough in doing their jobs when it comes to watching players who play on the West Coast who don't play in major conferences. But that's another story, Coach. How does it apply in this situation? It's one thing when it's media and it's voters and it's people who are part of these committees that nominate different players across the country. But what about NFL evaluators? Do you find like there's a lot of information that you could provide them just maybe because they haven't had the exposure to some of your players?
Yeah, I don't think as much. I think it's a different deal. The NFL invests, millions of dollars in their scouting. We have scouts here year-round. They're here all week during the season, watching practice, watching film. They're at games on the weekend watching us, and they do a really thorough job. I think it's totally different than the way the awards are done. There's really no secrets out there, and every team comes through here, sends people through here, sends 2 or 3 different people sometimes because they got their area guy, their national cross checker, then maybe the assistant GM or personnel guy comes through. So we get great representation that way, and I think they're pretty legit. I don't think there's any bias. They're just looking for guys that can play. They don't really care where they come from.
Whether it's tomorrow or whether the phone has already rung or will ring again in the future, what do you say to the NFL guys when they ask you? And again, we'll keep it at the top here. What do you say to them about Rashad Penny specifically?
Well, I say they'll be lucky to get him. They're getting a great young man that does everything right on and off the field. He's a great worker. He's a great person. He's going to work his tail off to be the best player that he can be. He'll give you every ounce of energy he has. He'll put it all out on the line for you there, and he'll continue to just get better and better. Coming out of high school, he was kind of a real naive young man and naive football-wise because the kind of offense they ran was like the old – all 11 guys, we call it the sniffer offense, are right there all together. He was kind of the wing guy. He never lined up in an I formation or knew A gap, the B gap, the C gap. He didn't know any of that kind of stuff. So he's just learned all that since he's been here. And I really think he's going to continue to develop and, get better and better. And then when you throw in the dynamic of what he can do on kickoff or punt returns, to me, that's just a big bonus in his hat, and that's why I say that I think he'll go. Somebody's going to get lucky to get him because he'll not only help him at running back, but he'll be a dangerous kick returner.
When did it occur to you that you were dealing with this level of talent, not just the level of talent that we all saw that produced the highlights that we've seen here at the collegiate level, in different facets, as you said, special teams, running, catching, et cetera. But when did it occur to you that you were dealing with a legitimate high-end NFL talent with Rashad Penny?
It took a little bit. His freshman year, he was, he's a mama's boy now. I mean, he doesn't get far from mom or talking with mom. I remember walking out of our meetings when we first started 2-a-days. He calls mom. I could hear him as soon as he stepped out of the meeting. Coach is being mean to me. It's not like it was in recruiting. He's not patting me on the head. Now he's, chewing my butt or whatever. And she was, thank God for the mom. She was like, well, you probably deserved it and you're staying there. You're not going anywhere. So, and I kept telling he's homesick. I said, you're from like 70 miles away. How can you be homesick? It's just right down the road in Norwalk there. But, it's freshman year. That's why we kind of kept him with us. Probably would have benefited maybe the redshirt, but I was afraid to send him down to the scout squad on the other end, afraid he might not come back. So that's why we had him running back kicks, and he showed some good things as a true freshman. And he got better as a sophomore. He was kind of our third guy as a sophomore, but we do it a lot with third guys running all the, reverses, the fly sweeps, we call them, kind of the wheel routes. And, he made an impact that way and ran some kickoffs back for touchdowns, and then, exploded on the scene his junior year as Donnell Pumphrey's backup. And, like I tell people, it wasn't like he was and going into this year, it's not like he was a backup as a junior. If you're a backup, you don't run for 1,000 yards. You don't, return 3 kickoffs for touchdowns, those kind of things. And then, to expect what he would do last year, I don't even know if I expected that. I mean, he just really exploded and was just awesome to watch and be a part of.
Saquon Barkley is considered the standard at this position in this year's draft. I'm sure you watch enough college football and have been around the sport long enough at the pro level and the collegiate level that you'll have an opinion on this. But if he is considered the standard of running back at this draft, how does Rashad Penny stack up? He's going to go top 2 or 3, Saquon Barkley. We'll wait and see what happens with Rashad Penny. But do you see a major difference between what Barkley offers and what Penny offers? What's the difference between the two, in your opinion?
I mean, if you're asking me, this is only my opinion. Mm-hmm. I think Rashad's a more talented guy. You think, he ran for more yards. He shattered the all-purpose yardage record. He was like 400 yards ahead of Barkley. I know they get the Big Ten, and the national exposure from the East. Obviously, that weighs heavily in the media and those outlets. But I wouldn't trade Rashad Penny for anybody and what he brings. you touched on it earlier. If Rashad Penny was on a Power 5 team, he'd have been the Heisman Trophy winner. There's no doubt about that.
And yet we're seeing Josh Allen. It appears Josh Allen, though he played in the same conference as Rashad Penny.
Yep.
There's speculation or at least some suggestion made that he's going to go right there at the top of it as well. So we'll see. These NFL scouts, as you said a little bit earlier, Jeff, these guys sort of know what they are doing. Is that a thing, though? In your opinion, the level of competition? Does it matter when it comes to the draft, whether you played in the Mountain West Conference or played in the Big Ten or SEC or any place else?
I don't think so. I think you can look all across the NFL, and there's great players from schools you hardly even heard of or don't know where they're located that have, been incredible players in the NFL. I just think, just like me coaching around, I always tell people running backs come in all shapes and sizes. There's no set thing. To me, it's no different NFL player. They come from all different schools and different sizes and different levels. And yet if you're a good enough player, as I mentioned earlier, I think the NFL does a great job of evaluating players all over the country that they'll find you.
And, Jeff, I would also ask this because I'm sure somebody has asked, or you may have even heard this said about Rashad, because you had such a successful running back. It's funny how you get punished for having successful players, right? You had such a successful record-setting running back a couple of years ago in Donnell Pumphrey, and then you follow it up with Rashad Penny, and we'll see what Juwan Washington does next year, obviously. But some would say, well, wait a minute, this is just a product of the system. Well, what would you say to some who think that this is just the system that San Diego State runs, and this is just the product of that?
I don't agree with. If somebody had said that to me, I wouldn't agree with that. We're an NFL-based style offense. That's what we do. I don't think it's any different in like, Kristen Chapman always gets a bum rap because we don't throw for 4,000 yards. And I think we live in a statistical world. People worry about how many followers you have or how many tweets you put out or how many Facebook friends and stuff like that, and all that gets involved with quarterbacks and yards. Now with running backs, if there is some success, like say we do with it, then a lot of people want to be the first to say, well, it's like you said, it's a product of the system. But yeah, a lot of people don't say that when a quarterback throws for a bunch of yards. That's just what they do because they're really good. It's not because they're a product of the system. So I think people try to fit it in the way they want to believe it. And, if you look at the guys, per carries and yards per carries and stuff like that, they're doing all that on their own. It's not just because, we really don't run. We're not like, say, Army was when we played them or Air Force an option team. I think we ran the ball 61% of the time last year. So, we're not overabundant. Those guys, obviously a lot of people are blocking for them up front and wide receivers and tight ends, and then the running backs are taking advantage of it. Making some big plays.
Pro Day tomorrow at SDSU. This is offensive coordinator, running backs coach Jeff Horton on the Mighty 1090. One quick last question for you, because it was part of the story last year how Rashad Penny would fill the shoes of Donnell Pumphrey. How about Juwan Washington heading into next season?
Well, I really love Juwan. He's another kid, great young man. Ran for almost 800 yards this year. He's run 3 kicks, back for touchdowns himself. Rashad was just in there. I told him Juwan was coming after his record because he has 2 more years left, so he only needs 5 in 2 years to break the NCAA, record. And I told him he's going to kill him. Now the new rule on the kicking might prevent that, but otherwise I think Juwan could break that. But I look for him to really step up, much like Pumphrey did when Adam Malema left, much like Rashad did when Pumphrey left. Now it's Juwan's turn to step up once Rashad has left, and we just try to keep the stable flowing, and I try to let them know what time the bus is leaving so we can get to the airport and try not to mess them up and let them out of the starting gate, let them go play and do what they do.
Get into Stanford's ass coming up in a couple of months.
That's right.
Coach, appreciate it. Thank you very much. Enjoy the day tomorrow. I'm sure it's for all the coaches there on staff, I'm sure it's an incredible moment of pride to see not only all the NFL scouts and evaluators out there to look at Rashad Penny, but the other players who you mentioned as well. No disrespect to them, obviously, but the headliner is Rashad Penny tomorrow. Thank you, Coach. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Darren. Appreciate you
got
having us on.
Thank you. That is Jeff Horton, offensive coordinator, running back coach.